All right, everybody, welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons. And we thank God for all those of you who are watching us here on Facebook Live, on YouTube Live, and big shout out to the replay viewers on Periscope, which is aka Twitter TV. We appreciate all those of you who tune in to watch us here on the broadcast. We also want to give a big shout out to everybody who's listening to the broadcast on WIGO AM 1570, Atlanta's Incredible Radio. You also can listen to us on the free TuneIn radio app. Put in WIGO 1570 in the search engine, and voila, you will find us broadcasting to you right here and right now. We're going to be talking all kinds of sports today. We're talking about the Braves. We're going to be talking about a little bit the NBA. Of course, everybody knows, as a good friend of mine says, it's football time in the state of Georgia. Football is going full throttle now, second week of high school football. College football is up and running. And, of course, the first week of the NFL, and lots of surprises and disappointments going on in the NFL, especially if you are in the NFC South. But we'll get into that later into the broadcast. First, we want to talk about a little Braves baseball. We got a gentleman that has been covering the Braves and all things related to sports and pop culture. He is the one and only Brian Jones in the building. Brian, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you so much for having me on, Jonathan. Always a pleasure.
Hey, man, I appreciate you jumping on here with us here and talk about a little Braves. I know your schedule is kind of constricted. Matter of fact, the Braves are playing right now, so I know you got to keep your eye on the game at the same time. I just want to, before I bring some of the other guests in, I just want to get your sensibilities of something I heard last week. I heard a football score posted up. The Braves posted 29 on the Marlins. What was that all about, Brian?
Well, it just goes to show you how dangerous this offense can be. And now, granted, that hasn't happened anything close to that since like 1900, and they were one run shy away from the major league record. I think they broke the National League record, but you saw what Adam Duvall did. Adam Duvall, actually, I think he's the first person to hit a 2-1 run homer, a 3-run homer, and a grand slam in that consecutive order. And then you got production out of Ronald Acuna, Freddie Freeman. And this was just a situation where everybody in the lineup was just hitting everything. And we've seen the Braves put up big numbers in terms of runs, not just this season, but in the previous 2 seasons. But this was just a perfect storm where everyone was just in sync on offense. And it's just something that you just don't see that often, because you'll see teams put up 15, maybe 20 runs here and there, but close to 30 is just unheard of. And again, this just goes to show you how dominant this Braves offense has been, and that's one of the biggest reasons why they're still in first place, because the pitching rotation has just been they've had their share of issues when it comes to injuries or lack of production. It looks like they'll get some players back this week, so that's a really good sign, especially with the playoffs starting in the next couple of weeks. So hopefully the offense can keep things going. They don't necessarily have to be like what they were last week, where they're scoring over 20 runs a game, but as long as they're able to drive runs in and be consistent, then they have a chance to do some things in the playoffs.
No doubt. Like you said, incredible stuff going on here. And we're going to bring in some of our other guests here. We're going to bring people on a little bit early. You guys know that we do a community outreach segment. So one of our guests that is going to be talking to us about what he's doing in the community, we know him as the one and only professor, writer, and author, Mr. Barry Brown of the Student Athlete Playbook is in the building. What's up? Did I get it all right?
Good. Man, you always get it right. Thank you, Minister. Thank you always, Brian. How you doing, sir? You been doing good?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Hey, doing wonderful, man. Always good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, man.
Yes, sir.
Well, look, Barry, I think you brought another gentleman on with you, also doing some great stuff with you in the realm of nonprofits. Is that correct?
That's right. That's my brother, business partner, Mr. Emery Williams, in the building.
All right, Brother Williams, are you there, sir?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Simmons and Mr. Jones and Barry Brown.
Well, look, man, we're excited to have all you guys on. And like I said, again, very, very shortly, we're going to shift into talking some football because, I got them waiting in the wings. guys that you all know knows more about football probably than anybody else I know. Football Encyclopedia, aka Mr. Football, is in the building, and so you already know we're going to be talking big time football here as we go into the second half of the broadcast. And Coach Barry Brown's already starting to laugh because he knows.
Man,
With Mr.
you
Football, the
surprised me
minister,
with
get in
this
the
one.
building. You already know what's going to happen, boys. But y'all can't go nowhere. Y'all got to keep it right here. But just right now, we're going to talk a little bit more baseball and then some of what's going on in the community. And then, of course, we'll shift into football because football really dominated the conversation for most of the weekend. Brian, the Braves do look like they are must-see TV as far as Major League Baseball. They look like they're one of the best teams in the league. Also, I hear some rumors that finally there will be a Cole Hamels sighting. Is that true?
Yeah, he's supposed to make his first start tomorrow.
Wow.
He's been injured pretty much all year, and the thing is, this is what what the Rays signed him for. They want him to be one of their top pitchers when it comes to the playoffs, and with the playoffs starting at the end of this month, it's perfect timing. And they projected that he would return in September at the latest, and he's a guy that has that playoff experience, has some pretty good years with the Philadelphia Phillies. So, and again, it's much needed because Mike Soroka went out with a torn Achilles back on August 3rd. They had to demote Sean Newcomb and Mike Fultonevich, and with Cole Hamels coming back, you bring some stability to the starting rotation, and then you'll get Max Fried back as well later on this week. So when you have guys like Hamels, Fried, Ian Anderson, the rookie who's been virtually outstanding so far in this first few starts, now you have some consistency and stability in that starting rotation. And again, this is the perfect timing because the Braves are making that playoff push. They're only 2.5 games ahead of the Marlins, and they have a 4-game series with the Marlins next week. So they want to pretty much solidify the NL East and then prepare for the playoffs.
Yeah, incredible what we're seeing there. Coach Barry Brown, did you ever think you see a Braves team or any team for that matter hang up a football score 29-9? Come on now.
Absolutely not. I'm a former high school baseball player, and when you see those kind of scores, especially like let's just say you were around at that time when I saw the score, I was around my wife, and so my wife was like, "Wait a minute, did I just see 29 on the news report?" I said, "Yeah, baby, they scored 29 points." So no, that's hard to believe. And like Brian said earlier, you talking about something you hadn't seen done since the early 1900s. So yeah, amazing. And so hopefully this year the team has matured enough to really go deep in the Major League Baseball, even in the short season, this COVID-19 season. Hopefully they can put it together. And hey, bring another championship. We'll take it any way we can get it. Just like the San Antonio Spurs, they won that championship. So hey, we'll take it. We'll take it in the 60-game season.
Look, man, you take it any way you can get it. Like I said again, it looks like the Braves are going to be a dominant team throughout the rest of this year. And the funny thing about it is that you don't have to be dominant too long because you're talking basically a 50 or 60-game season. So all you really have to do is be good for a half, and you can go ahead and handle your business. Well, Brian, obviously, Ronald Acuna, what can we say about him? The guy is just probably one of the most exciting players in baseball. But also talk to us a little bit about what we're seeing from a guy who a lot of people thought, remember initially, he said he was not going to play, Nick Markakis.
Well, he's a guy that's one of the locker room leaders. He's a guy that has over 2,000 career hits, has some great years with the Baltimore Orioles now, and he's from the Atlanta area. He grew up in Woodstock, so he's a fan favorite for most Braves fans. And the fact that he first made a decision to not play and then decided to come back and play, and it's been productive during this time with the Braves, I think he's going to be big for this team during their postseason run. Again, he's not necessarily like the most explosive guy offensively, but again, he brings stability into that clubhouse, brings stability into that lineup, and those are guys that you need in order to advance in the playoffs. Again, as Barry said, this team has matured from what they were a couple of years ago, but you do need those veteran guys, and they're still a young team, but they need guys like Nick Markakis and even Freddie Freeman and those type of players that that can be able to lead a clubhouse in order to make that next step into the playoffs and hopefully get a chance to the World Series. So Nick Markakis has been really big for this team this season.
Well, evidently it's created some excitement in somebody's house because I heard the kids went by, we're going to go Braves! I heard them running by. So a lot of excitement already about the Atlanta Braves, and as it should be. Like I said, this is a team that could finally bring home a title. It's been staggeringly 25 years since the Braves had hoisted up their lone trophy of the Atlanta Brave era. So certainly it would be great to see them kind of do that again. Well, Brian, what else do we have kind of going on here in the world of kind of like, now I hate to diverge into entertainment, but evidently I heard some breaking news that's important to all Atlanta fans who love hip hop and who love, well-built women. It does appear that once again, according to what I've heard, that Cardi B is back on the market. Brian, would you like to tell us a little bit about that, please, sir?
Yeah, she filed for a divorce with her husband Offset. They've been married for 2 years, so it looks like she's going to be single. That should be interesting. I will say that obviously Offset, a member of the rap trio Migos. So Atlanta fans, he's been seen at a lot of Atlanta Hawks games along with Quavo. And Quavo actually played football at Berkmar, so they're from that Gwinnett County area. So I think all Atlanta fans are pretty upset with this. And Cardi B is pretty much at the top of her game with the number one single in the country of Megan Thee Stallion. So I think she's going to move forward, and at the same time, Offset is going to move forward as well with Migos. So it's unfortunate, but it should be interesting to see how this plays out.
Brian, I like how you handled that, sir. You
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you that the minister really want to make a joke here bad, real bad. But I'm trying to really not go there. But only thing I can say is evidently. Now, let me not do it.
Switch the subject, minister. Go to the next bullet point.
Let me go on and move on because yeah. Listen, I mean, in the real seriousness, I hate to see anybody's relationship break up. But sometimes when you a little bit too controversial and you put too many controversial things out in the atmosphere, some things can happen. But again, hopefully everything will work out, and that's all I can say about that. But I just I'm really anyway, praise the Lord. All right, well, let me go on, move on.
Minister,
all right, listen.
Just say a prayer for him and move on.
Y'all gotta help me right here. This is one of the little sidebars that always gets you right there. Well, look, folks, I don't want anybody to panic. The minister is not going off the rails. I will be doing my ministry show tomorrow. I will repent from them thoughts that race through my mind right now. Amen. They said somewhere I'm only human, and the human side of me about to cut the fool. So we're going to move away and stay with sports because we are, in fact, the Real Talk Sports Show. And we are broadcasting to you on multiple platforms. We're on YouTube Live. We are on Facebook Live. We're on Periscope, which is Twitter TV. Thank you, replay viewers. And, of course, you're listening to the audio live on WIGO 1570, Atlanta's Incredible Radio. My good buddy, Eli Smith, does a great job over there. He's behind the glass. You guys can't see him. Even if we were in the studio, you couldn't see him. But anyway, want to give him a big shout out. He does a tremendous gospel program every morning, Monday through Friday, with the exception of Wednesdays, called the Eli Smith Show. And we want to give him a big shout out for all the work that he does there, man, because he holds it down. I mean, WIGO, we've been taking some shots, but we still hanging in there. So we thank God for him. Listen, Brian, I'll tell people how they can find out more about you, all the stuff that you're doing out there with sports and also with pop culture.
Yeah, so I'm the trending sports writer for popculture.com. You can find all my work at popculture.com/sports. I actually got a chance to interview Jerry Hughes, Buffalo Bills defensive lineman. He's also one of the 16 captains for the Bills. Those stories will come out tomorrow, so be sure to check those out. And for any trending or entertainment news, you can check out popculture.com. I've done a little writing on the entertainment side as well, so be sure to check those out. You can follow me on Twitter. That's at @BrianJones_PC. And I also have a podcast called Always Football Season, and you can find that wherever you get your podcast, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, And there's also an official Facebook page, facebook.com/always football season.
Daggone, that man got everything going on.
Yes,
Brian
sir.
Jones, he's everywhere that you need to be. Brian, we thank you so much for joining us, bro. We look forward to having you back again real soon.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much, guys, for having me on.
Brian Jones is a bad man. Well, listen, guys, we got to take a little quick break here, but you don't want to go away because it's about to get real hot up in here. You listen to the Real Talk Sports Show as we broadcast to you on every platform we can, including WIGO 1570 Atlanta's Incredible Radio, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Periscope. Keep it locked right here. We'll be back.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
Yeah, we just had a few guys stop by the Real Talk Sports Show. We were really happy to have all those gentlemen drop in here. And speaking of OJ Howard, he got a new guy slinging the ball at him over there. Where's number 12? TB12 is now with Tampa Bay. So a lot of stuff is going on, man. And again, like I said, we're very appreciative to all those guys who took a little time out. Some of those clips I got covering various events in and around Atlanta and around the Super Bowl. So we thank God for all those guys that took time out to put a drop on the situation for the Real Talk Sports Show. All righty then, boys and girls. You know what time it is. We're about to go into some football time in the state of Georgia. Before we do that, we don't want to neglect our public duty, public service duty. Gentlemen, please tell us a little bit about what you guys do before we shift over and talk that football, because, you know, once we get into football, it's going to be on and popping. So tell us a little bit what you guys do in the community, please.
Yes, sir. Well, again, I'm Barry Brown, and I'm the author of the Student Athlete Playbook, the #1 character development book for student athletes here in the United States. And Emory Williams, my business partner, together, we are a part of an organization called Youth Education and Sports. It's a nonprofit charity organization, and our absolute mission is to help student athletes, no matter where they are currently, help them establish themselves in the classroom, help them understand what they need to do in the community, and help them develop the outstanding character and decision-making skills that will take them wherever they need to go in life, be it working for someone else, starting their own business, or doing both. We want them to accumulate, obtain, and secure and master the skills that will pay the bills. Mr. Jonathan Simmons.
I like that. Let me get your partner and let him kind of
Yes,
tell us what got you involved with Barry Brown in this endeavor.
Well, it was more than just a coincidence that Mr. Brown and I hooked up. We're both like-minded as far as community involvement, and we were in a workshop together, and it just so happened that we talked and hit it off right at the very beginning. He had a piece of the puzzle that I needed in order to progress, and I had a piece of the puzzle that he needed to progress. So since that meeting about 3 years ago, we have joined forces, and we're serving the community all around the Atlanta area and in the South Fulton County area.
Well, man, like I said, it seems like you guys got some great stuff going on. And how important is it really that you do this type of outreach to children, not children, really young people, to make sure that they have a balanced life?
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
Oh, go ahead, Amber. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Very much so. And what we take pride in is helping youth to develop through goal-setting activities. Because, you know, if you don't plan, then you're planning to fail. So with that outlook, we're really pushing forward to having them to start, you know, making plans and started doing things early instead of waiting until it's too late.
Well, like I said, again, it sounds like you guys got some good things going on, and it's really exciting because at the end of the day, one of the things that is important in impacting with young people is to see men involved. Now, we like to kind of emphasize fathers, obviously, that's very important, but it just to see grown men that are involved with them, not necessarily because they're a coach or the coach is a great thing, but involved with them because they want to see the student do well, that they've taken the time out to work with a student, whether they're a great athlete, whether necessarily a super student when they first meet with you guys. But it seems that you really are trying to make sure that that the individual grows and they really become a well-functioning citizen in society.
Absolutely. As educators, and you've seen this yourself, Mr. Simmons, interacting in schools the way we do. The biggest compliment when you've done something, you haven't done it in vain, is when you've poured into a young person when they were younger, and then you see them years later, and they're happy to see you. And I just had something happen to me, and it happens all the time, but it never gets old. It happened just last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago. One of the former assistant principals that I work with at my alma mater, Morrow High School, called me and was like, "Oh man, Brown, I was at a Hawks game before the pandemic, and I was on the elevator going down or up or whatever way they were going, and one of our former students got on the elevator with me, and we're like, oh man, you and Mr. Brown," he named about 3 male teachers at Morrow High School. And he said, "Man, y'all saved my life." Now he's a grown man. Now he's like probably, late 20s, early 30s. And he actually said that to, and I give him a shout out to Wendell Spann, Mr. Spann. He actually told him that we saved our lives. I said, "He named my name?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Hey, God bless. Those are the stories that actually happen out here." And when you start talking about Black men in particular, because the image that we're painted as so much in American history and even current times is not usually a good image. However, we have tremendous men like yourself, Emory Williams, Brian Spencer, all the people that we're associated with. We know for sure the men are putting in the major work out here in the community. Mr. Football himself, we just caught up last week and we were talking about some of these things out here in the world. And so there's a lot of men, Black men. So please don't get it twisted. We are here for our families. We're here for our children, and we are out here putting in work. And that's what we instill in the young men and the young ladies that we get a chance to work with in our program. And when we work with anybody else's program, our number one thing, like you said before, is to help them grow and understand that they're not out here alone, and we give them the support that they need to flourish and thrive out here. So everybody don't believe the hype.
Well, that's right. I'm behind that 100%. So how can people find out more about you? Website, social media, where they can follow you, get involved, they can donate, just, kind of drop the knowledge so people can know how to get to you.
Emory, you want to give that information?
Yes, I got that. So they can reach us through youtheducationandsports.org. Same thing on the Facebook is Youth Education and Sports, all spelled out. We have donation ability, and also, we like to give back to the community too. So if you find that you may want to partner with us in any endeavor, we're looking for that activity also.
Well, there it is, man. That's the breakout right there. Well, speaking of breakout, we got to break out the heavy firepower now, because we're about to talk some football here. This guy has done a wonderful job over the years. Matter of fact, it's one of the reasons why you guys are watching me right now. Started with him over a decade ago on the Real Talk Sports Show. He has branched off in the last several years, does a tremendous program on his own. Almost 20,000, over 20,000 followers on Facebook, 100 Yards of Football, sports talk radio show. The founder, the man, Mr. Football, Vincent Turner's in the building. Mr. Football, what's going on, man?
How you doing this evening, Minister?
Sir, it's good to have you on the show. I'm doing good, sir. Doing real good. As you can see, another friend of the show, Mr. Barry Brown. So I said I couldn't have Mr. Brown on without bringing Mr. Football on, so we can kind of get the old crew back together. Yes, sir.
That's right, Mr. Football.
Well, first and foremost, Barry, how you doing this evening? How you
Yes,
doing,
sir.
Coach Williams?
Nice to meet you there, Ms. Turner.
With Barry, me and Barry go back, and I would say this: the last 2 years of what we're doing at 100 yards of football, I owe Barry a lot because he got us started real well on Facebook. Outstanding individual, man of character. One more can I say? One of the few brothers that I know personally that makes me laugh every time I'm around him, but also makes me feel good as a man. And me being from Memphis, Tennessee, being in the city of Atlanta for almost 24 years, he's one of the best individuals I ever met in my life here in Atlanta.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that, Mr. Football. Real.
But however,
here it comes. Here it comes, Minister.
He threw some shots this weekend, so we could get into some football talk. And he know what I'm talking about.
Some shots were fired. Well, okay, let's just go ahead and lay
and
the
you're gonna
cards on
probably
the
be
table
on
here.
his side tonight too. So I'm ready. I'm ready to talk football. That's what we do here at 100 yards of football. To your audience, get ready for the magic carpet ride because it's going to be lakeside in the house.
He went old school. He on like Lakeside Inn. We might have to bring in Rick James. I don't know who else we might bring in here. Get old school, Michael Jackson. We might have to do it all in here, but definitely going to talk some football. Before we get into pro football, we want to touch a little bit on college because pretty soon we're going to bring another guy on going to talk to us about Georgia Tech football. I know a lot of you guys here watching from the SEC. You like, who is Georgia Tech? Who's the ACC? Well, the bottom line is that Georgia Tech made some noise and had a big win. So we're going to bring on a gentleman in just a few minutes to have us talk about that. Mr. Football, first of all, what are your thoughts about, football being back? Fans in the stadium, kind of what was your feeling this first weekend really of seeing big-time football out at every level, college, high school, and pro?
Me personally, I enjoyed it because I'm a big-time football fan. I've been a fan ever since I was 6 years old. Just seeing the game back this past weekend really enlightened me personally. It was a little different with fans not being in the stands, but me being a football guy, it don't matter because I'm going to love the game, whether or not they playing, whether or not they're on the field. But I was glad it was back, especially here in the South.
No question about it, man. And really, that's been the big thing is that, down here in the South, football rules the roost. It's been absolutely crazy. Guys have been chomping at the bit. I talked to people, and I thought somebody was going to go down there and just sit in the stadium by themselves. It got so crazy, man. It's really football is tied so much to the Southern experience, but really all around the country. I think you go into places like where the Big Ten was being played in the Pac-12, a lot of people are irritated. Matter of fact, now I hear that the Big Ten is backpedaling. We might see Big Ten football as early as October. So, it's just crazy, man, how one sport has such a big impact on our lives. I mean, and it goes across all colors. It goes across. I mean, it's big here in the South, but it's big in other areas as well. So, man, it's just incredible. And like I said, I know that you are just, pumped that football is back.
Well, see, Minister, like I told you before, you are from the North, see. So you don't understand when they're talking about football in the South back in the 60s when you had the great Walter Payton, Joe Street Gilliam at Tennessee State University, Herschel Walker, Jim Brown from St. Simon's, Georgia. I mean, football is the growth here. It's kind of a situation where it's kind of mended the fences between races, if you really want to be honest about it.
Yep.
And me, I've grown up and saw a lot of great football players come out of this area. And if you look overall, the Archie Mannings, I'm going to throw him out there, his sons Peyton and Eli. Then, like I said, me being from Memphis, Tennessee, seeing the great Claude Humphrey, I'm going to throw some love to Tennessee State, the 1966 team. They had 27 players drafted in the NFL. That's who I grew up watching. Football is the king, man. And like I say, here in the South, the great Alabama teams with Bear Bryant, even Georgia with Vince Dooley, LSU with Charlie McClinton, Arkansas with Lou Holtz. When I was there, this is what rules the South, football. And you can check the history.
Well, no doubt about it, bro. And you dropped the history here. I got another guy in the wings here. Is also going to get in some history for us. He covers Georgia Tech football, has been for a long time. Good friend of our show, Rod McKenzie in the building. Rod, welcome back, kind sir.
Hey, thanks for having me back. It's good to be with you guys.
Well, Rod, I know you're excited. Georgia Tech, I don't want to say necessarily an upset, a huge upset, but certainly I think no one thought a team that was picked and many pundits dead last would go down to Florida State and knock off the Seminoles 16-13. What were the keys to that win, Rod?
Yeah, there was a lot of question marks definitely going into that game. You're starting a freshman quarterback on the road, maybe a little extra pressure because he was going to play against a team that he was committed to at one time in Florida State. And then you have a defense that gave up a lot of points last year. And I think you had to wonder, hey, will they be able to stop Florida State and Mike Norvell, who is famous for his high-powered offense? So I think the fact that the offensive line started out the game and gave Sims a lot of protection, allowed him maybe to look off his primary receiver, go to the second and third guys, and it allowed him to get into the flow of the game, relax a little, gain his composure, and he went from there. And we saw what happened, and in spite of the 2 interceptions, he remained in the game, didn't lose his confidence, and he came out and got the job done in the second half, as did the defense.
Rod, I wish I could play back the tape because the last time I had you on, you talked about the fact that the young freshman might be able to get a start, first guy since I think Reggie Ball to start as a freshman, and to come out there and sling it around, put up 277 yards. I mean, it looked like a whole different Georgia Tech team.
Yeah, it certainly did, and it was a team that kept fighting. It was a team that really took it to Florida State. And when you talk about, playing with swagger, back in the day, Florida State was one of those teams that you would think of. And actually, Saturday, the roles were reversed there, and the Georgia Tech players were actually showing the swagger and taking it to the Florida State players. A lot of talking going on out there, and it was by the Georgia Tech players because they felt like they were in control of the game.
Mr. Football, I know, like you said, again, you have been a long-time watcher of football here, SEC primarily. What did you think about the performance from Georgia Tech against a decent Florida State team?
Well, I'm going to give credit to Jeff Collins. Obviously, he had his team ready to play. I'm going to say about this on the offensive side of the ball. I think Jeff Sims is a star in the making. To me, I've followed Georgia Tech over the years. Maybe Miss McKenzie can probably follow this up. To me, as a true freshman, coming in as an 18-year-old, coming into the environment, to me, he might be the best that's ever going to do it at Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech has had some great players at that position, Sean Jones and Joe Hamilton. But what I really took away from the game was it wasn't so much Georgia Tech and the success they had on the offense side of the ball, but it was their defense.
Yeah.
And it was a guy in the senior leadership of David Curry and their ability to frustrate James Blackman, because you got to look at it, as Mr. McKenzie said, Mike Norvell, his 4 years at the University of Memphis, from my hometown to 901, Memphis, his offense has averaged almost 40 points a game for 4 years straight. Put players in the NFL like Anthony Miller, who's with the Chicago Bears now. Tony Pollard, who you saw play the other night with the Dallas Cowboys. Then you take away Antonio Gibson, who played pretty well with Washington this past weekend. So this was a guy that was pretty knowledgeable when he come in the offense. And then you thinking with Florida State, with all those athletes, you thought they was going to come out of the box. And with a Georgia Tech team, they had 3 D linemen, maybe Mr. McKenzie can help me with this, was out of the game. My hat's off to Jeff Collins and the Georgia Tech defense. They made a statement from a defensive standpoint, and they're going to be known in the ACC.
Rod, what do you think? The team seemed like they were definitely bringing it, a lot of energy. Are we really starting now to see the turn and the Jeff Collins effect on this team?
Yeah, I think the most important thing about Jeff Collins is that he prepares his players for what they're going to face, no matter what the situation. And of course, in this game, we were only playing before maybe 17,000 fans. He had his players prepared for this environment in spite of the fact that he was losing, TK Chimeza, his starting tackle, Antonius Clayton, his starting defensive end, Trey Swilling at the corner. And he didn't have the highly touted freshman running back, Jahmyr Gibbs, available. So they play with the above the line rather than a depth chart. And if you're above the line, you're going to play in the game. So they were rolling players in and out along the defensive line. And that really wore Florida State's offensive line down. as we got into the fourth quarter, and that's when they made their move and came from behind to win the game.
We go to social media here. We got the big shout out here from Nathan Lewis, just saying hello, brother. I appreciate you. Nathan also does a podcast as well, dealing with a lot of different issues on his show. So we thank God for him that are watching and listening. We thank God for all those of you on Periscope. The hearts are fluttering. We appreciate you. And we also appreciate those of you who are watching us on YouTube. We please encourage you, if you're watching us on YouTube, to subscribe to that channel. Hit the bell so you'll be notified when we have another show. We appreciate, again, all those of you who are doing this. Well, now the big home game coming up here, first home game for Georgia Tech. They're talking about, I think, somewhere around 15 to 20,000 fans. It's already gotten out there, no tailgating of any type. But before I do that, I want to try to see if I can bring this up here. You talked about Jeff Collins and his energy. I'm going to try to see if I can bring up a little bit of his press conference, and you guys can see why this guy has made such a big impact. Let's see if we can go ahead and grab that screen and see if we can just grab just a little bit of his comments here during the press conference here. Let's see if we can take a peek here and grab a little bit of Mr. Jeff Collins talking to everybody about his excitement with the Georgia Tech team. See if we can get him up.
This thing that I want to make sure is understood.
Having little problems here with buffering here, trying to get Coach's comments up online. Evidently, of course, now that we're trying to do that, it's not going to cooperate. So we're going to go ahead and stop that right now and try to come back and get that broadcast a little bit later. Again, having a little technical difficulties. There he is.
The captains. So I meet.
Well, the technology evidently is not going to work with us, so we'll come back and hopefully get some more of his comments later on. But you guys can see, guys got great energy, push forth this whole concept about, I think, Rod, they call it the 404, trying to give a definite ATL flavor on there. So it seems like, at least in game number one, that everybody's listening.
Yeah, without a doubt, everybody did listen, and his first job when he came here was to change the culture. They bought into the culture, and they played hard. They really played hard, and they're looking forward to coming home. But it's going to be out of the frying pan into the fire, because you faced another offense that runs maybe close to 78 to 80 plays a game, and that's they don't allow you to get your defense to get off the field and make substitutions. So it's going to be a big test for the defense this week.
Well, over the years, Central Florida and Georgia Tech have had some great games. Certainly, I believe a couple of years ago, they came in here, a very good team, and Georgia Tech gave them all they can handle. So I look for really more of the same. Now, I will tell you folks, for those who are listening for Georgia Tech Nation, Georgia Tech has said, like most other schools, no tailgating on school property. Now, the operative word there is on school property. I think that on our way in here, Rod, that we're going to see tailgating up and down 14th Street. You might see guys as far away as possibly even Atlantic Station that are going to start the tailgate and then hop on a bus or hop on the Georgia Tech shuttle to get down there. So I think it's going to be pretty exciting, and I think it's going to be pretty interesting. Now, Rod, are you going to be one of the featured reporters that are going to be live on the scene, sir, up in the press box?
I hope to be there, and we had a good time down at Florida State. I think we got home at 4:30 in the morning.
Wow.
From Florida State, but it was worthwhile because I wanted to go see some football, and that was the most important thing to me. And I got to see some football, and it made it even better when Georgia Tech came out on top.
Well, how far do you think this team can go? I mean, again, we've seen this before. Teams have been downplayed. We certainly even had it with Coach Johnson. We've had teams that everybody said was going to be in the middle of the pack, and he turned out and get an 8 or 9 win season and knock off Georgia at the end. So how good do you think this Georgia Tech team can be?
Well, I think the fact that they beat Florida State before a national audience is not going to allow them to sneak up on some teams like they might have done otherwise. But it's they have the players. They probably need to add a few more at certain positions, but they're going to have a chance to to do a lot better than, the media. I think they took a look at last season's record and said, okay, they're the worst team in the ACC. Well, I don't see that happening, and I see them finishing a lot higher in the the top 15 in the ACC than people perhaps thought they could. And it's all about, they have a young staff, great coaching, and the players really have formed a bond with those coaches, and that's really important for team chemistry.
Oh, no question, man. Like I said, anytime you have your coaching staff do a hype reel when they come in, you already know that they're trying to change the culture. I mean, that was probably the biggest thing that kind of really struck me, that they had this, like you said, this whole production going on. As a matter of fact, I know their chaplain used to do a show at WIGO, is Demo Speaks. Derek Moore, one of the great motivational speakers, done a lot of stuff in the NFL. So, I mean, they got some firepower there. And I would not be surprised if this team does not make a run into the Coastal Division. I'm not going to say they'll win a title, but certainly I think they have all the makings with the COVID and all these other things that have kind of disrupted things. They could really sneak up on somebody and make some noise late in the season.
Yeah, I think that, if you want to look ahead to next year when they go back, well, hopefully they'll go back to the two different divisions and we get back to some normalcy. They're going to be a threat in the Coastal Division with your North Carolinas and your Virginia Techs. And of course, Clemson's always going to be there on the other side of the ledger. So, and that's a team, that's a crossover opponent that Georgia Tech has to play every year. So that's sort of a tough nut to crack when you're trying to finish top the Coastal and win the conference. But, the elements are there. And if they continue to recruit like they have, they had their second best recruiting class last year in the history of, since they started handing out those stars. And, it's they're taking advantage of what Georgia Tech is. And, that's something that this staff has probably done better than some of the other staffs that were here.
Well, I know one guy down in the corner there that he's again, not a big ACC guy, but I know there's one game that he probably be pretty interested in. I believe, Rod, in about 3 or 4 weeks, we're going to have the guys invade us with the golden helmets and the golden dome coming down. Did I hear that Notre Dame will be coming to the ATL to square off here against Georgia Tech at Bobby Dodd?
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Unfortunately, the game was originally going to be played in Mercedes-Benz. But, with everything going on with the COVID, they decided to move it back on campus. You have a top 20 team coming in. That's always fun. Even though there's only going to be about 11,000 fans there, I think the atmosphere is still going to be good. And, if you're a Georgia Tech player, there's no doubt that you're going to get up for that game and you're going to be thinking, hey, we have a chance to really make a name for ourselves now and maybe pull an upset here at home.
Oh, no, I think it's going to be an epic game. I think that it's going to be a huge – if Georgia Tech either wins the game or stays close, which they should be able to stay close in that game, that's the hope is. I think that it would be a gigantic shot in the arm, and I think it would be a game changer, even recruiting against Georgia. You get in a situation where they knock off Notre Dame, the backdrop of Midtown Atlanta – in the background, and now the notion that we're going to have a home and away every year. You're going out to Notre Dame one year, Mercedes-Benz the next year. Yeah, I just think it's going to be a big recruiting plug if Georgia Tech can stay close or win the game. Yeah,
there's so many advantages with the city of Atlanta right here for these kids. Even after they're done with their careers here, if they don't make it in the pros, they have that degree. There's so many good job opportunities in the city of Atlanta, so many connections that the school has with these companies. And, if you're a young kid, you would have to be excited about being able to come and play in the city of Atlanta before some large crowds.
No doubt. Listen, Rod, how can people find out more about you and your website, social media? Because I know, like everybody else on here, everybody's got a tight schedule. So let us know how we can find out more about you.
Yeah, we're part of the 247 Sports Network, gojackets.com, and you can find me on Twitter at Georgia Panther.
Well, it is. Rod McKenzie in the building. Rob, we appreciate you, man, and hope to have you on again real soon. Be blessed.
Thanks a lot, and you all take care.
Yes, sir. You too.
Where is our man from Georgia Tech, Rod McKenzie, in the building, and we appreciate him. We appreciate you guys. You got to keep it locked right here because now it's time for us to get into the nitty gritty. We're going to talk a little NFL, and oh my goodness,
I have a question.
Yes, sir. Oh, go ahead.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
You brought up some good news about Georgia Tech, and I know you talked about the Notre Dame game.
Yes,
but
sir.
I think Tech Nation is kind of jumping the gun a little bit because y'all got a real good Central Florida team that's coming in this week with a pretty good quarterback in Dylan Gabriel that threw for 3,600 yards and 29 touchdowns. Got a pretty good running back in Otis Anderson and got some studs on the outside and Trey Nixon and Marlon Williams. Now, I know y'all beat Florida State. That's a big win, but to Tech Nation, Florida State is kind of down a little bit. So I'm just asking, you jumping here to Notre Dame so quick. I think y'all better hold the bricks, like we say in the 901, pump the brakes and worry about Central Florida this Saturday.
Okay, let's.
I want to ask Mr. McKenzie that before he left. Y'all talking about recruiting classes and all this and that. But hold up now. You got a real outstanding Central Florida team coached by Josh Heupel, who went 10-3 last year to average over 40 points a game, returned a quarterback that threw for 3,700 yards and 29 touchdowns. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, all those points are well taken. I have no disagreement, except for the fact that, again, Georgia Tech has played UCF well over the years. We can't go back in the past, but over the years, they have played UCF well, especially when they've come here to Georgia Tech. And it does apparently seem that Georgia Tech is bigger, they're faster, and they're playing a different type of scheme. No more, triple option, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. No more complicated, who's going to get the ball, fumbles. I think that they just have a team that is poised and ready to make some noise. Will they beat UCF on Saturday? Maybe not. But really for Georgia Tech right now is against top caliber competition like UCF is really to kind of just keep the game close to show a progress from what they had before, which was a team that was fairly mediocre. And not only so much mediocre, but people weren't interested. But people just weren't interested.
You brought up good points, but I was just asking. I don't mean to start nothing here on your show.
Sure you do. It's all right.
The best shows in the South. But I'm just saying, on my Facebook Saturday night, I got some messages that Georgia Tech has arrived. Georgia Tech win the national championship. Jeff Sims is the top quarterback in the country on the same level as Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I got this on my Facebook page. Tech Nation was riding high Saturday night. So all I'm saying is, you know how I do it. I'm a realist. I'm going to say what's on my mind because I love football. I love this game. But I'm just saying, it just seemed to me, Minister, a few seconds ago, you and Mr. McKenzie, when Mr. Brown smiling in the back, it seemed like y'all thinking Tech has arrived a little bit here when you kind of, to me, disrespecting Central Florida with their great offense. That's all I'm saying. Then you brought up the real cat in the bag when you said, hopefully, if we beat Notre Dame, we can recruit on the same level of Georgia. So I'm just saying that to Tech Nation, to all the people that really kind of reached out to me Saturday night after the win over Florida State, I want to see what y'all do this week against a real good Central Florida team that's got a real good quarterback in Dylan Gabriel. 3,600 yards, 29 touchdowns last year. And I know people saying Tech can change their offense, but this defense here, I want to see y'all go up against a more experienced quarterback than what Florida State put on the field Saturday night. This is not going to be James Blackman under the center. This is going to be Dylan Gabriel. Remember that name. And I
like that name.
Next Tuesday night on your show.
Well, here's the question we're going to pose out here right now. Here's some controversy for you right here, boys and girls. Since Georgia Tech is sniffing themselves right now, who do you think will win a national title first? University of Georgia Bulldogs or Georgia Tech? How about that?
Minister, stop them.
Who do you think will win it first, boys and girls? All right, well, listen, I know you guys have an answer to that, but you're going to have to hold on to the answer because we're going to have to take another station break. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show as we broadcast to you on multiple platforms, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Periscope, which is Twitter TV. Thank you, replay viewers, and listening to us on WIGO 1570, Atlanta's Incredible Radio. We'll be back with more. Stay tuned.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
And we're back. For those of you listening to us on WIGO 1570, this will be your final break of the evening. Again, you tuned in to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host and minister, Jonathan Simmons. That's right. I actually a real minister, a licensed guy, not through the internet. I actually have a real ministerial license. I'm the real situation. But I'm also known as the Minister of Sports here, as named me by the one and only Mr. Football, Vincent W. Turner. You will see him pop up on your screen right now. By him lonesome there. There he is, Mr. Football. We also want to give a big shout out to Mr. Barry Brown of the Student Athlete Playbook and his partner in goodness, not in crime. Coach Emery Willis is in the building as well. Gentlemen, again, we appreciate you as we now make the home turn around the corner to talk some pro football. Well, here in Atlanta, I believe people, Barry Brown said, pump the brakes. Yes,
I just have to get one thing in on Georgia Tech, Minister.
Yes, sir.
One of the things, Mr. Football, that the Georgia Tech Nation is so excited about is the fact that we now have a coach that understands how to recruit. And as you saw on Saturday, we look like a regular size major college football team. That's the whole key to this whole thing. Do not be afraid to go recruit all the top guys in the nation. And that's what you saw Georgia Tech do these last 2 years, where this season we brought in four, I think either five, I think it was five. It would have been 5 four-star athletes that we brought in. One had an unfortunate demise, and, definitely prayers go out to his family. But we brought in 5 four-star athletes, and we haven't done that in a very, very long time. So what you're going to see on Saturday is you're going to see a team like Mr. Simmons said earlier, and Mr. McKenzie said, you're going to see a team that doesn't give up. You're going to see a team that comes on the field and actually believes they can win. And you're going to see a team that actually pulls off a better season than anybody ever predicted for this year. So if they go 6-6, or if they go 5-6, that's going to be a huge jump from what they did last year, 3-9. And I think you're going to see some great football coming out of Flats. And then next season, watch out when his whole team is fully installed and he has a quarterback with some experience and that defense. I'm going to tell you the player to really watch that's on his way, I believe, to being an All-American is the defense, the 4-star defensive back, number 16. He's going to be a star out there for Georgia Tech in the secondary. So listen to me closely, Mr. Football. Georgia Tech is back because they have the coaching staff, they're recruiting the top players, and they're putting the major effort out on the field. So look for a big jump for them, not only this season, but the major jump is going to come next season. Watch my words and remember that, Mr. Football.
Let me say it for you, Mr. Football. Pump the brakes. You're looking way ahead of time. You got one game at a time, and Florida's coming to play this week.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right. Well, I see a lot of.
If I could say one thing, I don't mean to interrupt.
Jump on in, sir.
Y'all bringing up some good points. Don't get me wrong. I like Jeff Collins as the head man at Georgia Tech. But however, let me ask you this question. In 3 years, will Georgia Tech be a top 25 program? Will you be on the same? Let me finish. I'll let you speak, Coach Brown. Will y'all be able to challenge the young team over there in Athens that's constantly having top 3 or 4 recruiting classes? That go for you too, Minister. I hear you saying y'all going to go 6-6 this year, but all I'm saying, I'm reacting to what I saw on Facebook Saturday night. And it was all directed at me that Georgia Tech has arrived because y'all beat a Florida State team that's going through a transition. All I'm saying is the great teams, the great programs, they don't get Billy Hoof over one win. It's about a time. And when they get to that certain level, as you said, Coach Brown, I'm hearing you, Barry, BB, you saying 3 years, along with your cohort, Mr. Williams, along with you, Minister, because you don't like Georgia. I know that.
Don't hit my name too hard now.
At the end of the day, after y'all go 6-6 this year, then Coach Collins' third year, I'm asking all y'all, will y'all be a top 25 program? I don't want to hear about you contending for the Coastal Division. Will Georgia Tech be a top 25 program? Then that tells me that y'all have arrived. Will y'all be in the same class of LSU, Alabama, Clemson, North Carolina? Let's get to the meat and bones here. I hear you talking woofing, but in 3 years, will you be a top 25 program?
Yeah, we will. Mr. Football, a few short years ago, I think to be three or four to be exact, Georgia was ranked higher in the final AP poll than the University of Georgia. That was just a couple of years ago, brother. So you're talking.
You saying now?
Georgia was ranked higher than the University of Georgia just a few short years ago in the final 8
years ago since Kirby Smart been there? Or you talking about after Kirby Smart, right? Because since Kirby Smart there, Georgia's finished in the top 10 each year. And I haven't seen Georgia Tech. Let me tell you this. Nowhere to
go.
Check
it yourself. You can check it. You can check yourself. Less than 5 years ago, Georgia Tech finished higher in the final polls than Georgia. That was just a few years ago. So
how many years ago are you talking about? 8 to 10?
I said within the last 5 years, I think Georgia finished like 11-3. I mean, Georgia Tech finished like 11-3. Yeah, they were ranked higher than Georgia in the final poll.
Okay, but let's reverse the question. My question is:
in 3 years,
Georgia Tech guy,
they will be a top
25 program in 3 years.
I put it like this. Watch this, Mr. Football. If Georgia Tech wins the next 3 to 4 games, they'll be ranked.
Will if? Let's get off the if. Let's talk about now. Will they be a top 25 program? Asking Coach Williams, asking Coach asking you.
Yes.
Okay.
I say no. It's just
Thank you, Coach Williams.
The playing field is just a little too steep. Maybe in 5 years they might make it. But
now we're talking with sense.
I mean, because you
well, gentlemen, I'll just put a pin in here for a quick second here, because as you know, we do a live audio broadcast on WIGO 1570, and we have to end our broadcast at 9 p.m. So for those of you who are listening on WIGO, we want to say thank you so much for tuning in. For those of you who've been doing it on WIGO 1570 in your car or WIGOAM.com online, or using the free TuneIn Radio app and putting in WIGO 1570 in the search engine. We thank you so much for listening and watching us and listening to us here on the broadcast. Big shout out back at the studio to Mr. Eli Smith. Like I said again, guys, if you like gospel music, check him out every Monday through Friday, with the exception of Wednesday, 9 a.m. to 12 noon on the Eli Smith Show, bringing you the great gospel hits from the past and catching you up to date to everything that's on and popping right now in gospel music. Also want to give a big shout out to Kevin Buchanan, our all-around guy, station manager, general manager, sales manager, and program director, for his fine leadership of WIGO through some turbulent times. All right, guys, until the next time on WIGO, God bless you and have a great day. Hey, on social media, don't go nowhere, because we're going to be talking more football in just a moment. A quick 15-second break. Keep it locked right here for more of the Real Talk Sports Show. Hey, everybody, we committed here, along with our gold level sponsor, Allen Vigil Ford, to do something here to get back to the community. So not only did Mr. Vigil allow us to do a live broadcast on Facebook Live and on WIGO 1570 of tonight's game, he's also allowing us to present a small check to each school, $75 to each school, to help them defray the cost as they go forward in their football program.
Thank you.
Coach, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Coach, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Vigil, we thank you. Yeah, big shout out to Allen Vigil Ford. I have to put in a shameless plug because I do work there as a commercial account manager. Big ups and big shout outs to them for all the stuff they've done. Check them out. You can shop them online 24/7 at allenvigilford.net. If you need a vehicle for yourself or a family member, no problem. You don't want to do any kind of snarky, sharky salesperson. We don't have to because you can deal with yours truly, the minister. Give me a call, 678-410-9833. I'll be more than happy to help you, your family, or your business get into a new or pre-owned vehicle at a reasonable price and with top quality service. Remember, give me a call, 678-410-9833. AllenVigilFord.net. Tap them 24/7. Well, yeah, so everybody's throwing the slings and arrows around Georgia Tech and who's going to do what. So I still go back to the same question. If I look at Georgia Tech and I look at Georgia, now, yes, has Georgia finished high up in the rankings? They certainly have. Matter of fact, they have been a threat, operative word, a threat to win a national title, I would say probably 3 of the last 4 years. Unfortunately,
go ahead and tell him, Minister.
Unfortunately, very much like our Atlanta Falcons, it does appear that once they cross this threshold of the big game, they carry us for 2, sometimes 3, even into the fourth quarter, and then mysteriously all goes awry. And we are left thinking what could have been. So my question goes back out again. Who will win a national title first? Will it be the heavily favored big boys out of Athens wearing the red and black, named the Bulldogs, who consistently year after year put in a top 5 level team, especially since Kirby Smart has been there. Kudos to him, one of the best recruiters in the country. Or will we see now the resurgence of the Georgia Tech program, who technically speaking has the last national title won by a team in the state of Georgia in 1990. Bulldogs' last one was in 1980, just to set the record straight. I'm just saying. So that's a big question. What do you think? If you want to join in the conversation, guys, put your comments in on social media, and we will go ahead and pop your reply on. So here's the question. I'll pop it up here again. Who will win the national title first? Will it be the Bulldogs of the University of Georgia or the stinging little Yellow Jackets from Georgia Tech? Go ahead and put your comments in. We'll be more than happy to pop you up on the screen so everybody can see your comments. Yeah, guys, I think, Mr. Football hit on some good points. I mean, no doubt about it. Georgia has been a consistent top 5 program. And with Kirby Smart's leadership as a recruiter, as a coach, they have been a team to beat. Let's face it. It took Alabama to have a miracle finish to keep Georgia out of the national title. And it took a dumb loss to Tennessee for them to not be in the mix again. So I don't want to in any way take away from the program, but the bottom line is they're in the same position Georgia Tech is. They don't have a national title in the showcase at the end of the day. So, yes.
Let me say this. Every year, like the majority of my friends and family are University of Georgia fans.
And rightfully so.
Either they went there or, they're just fans, And so, Mr. Football always makes some great points. I mean, he's a walking encyclopedia of sports,
No doubt.
However, like he said, Georgia Tech has the better chance. If you understand the college football business, Georgia Tech absolutely has the chance to win a national title before Georgia. And here's simply why. Georgia plays in a conference that still has Alabama, still has LSU, still has Auburn, and they have not figured out how to beat all these guys in the same season consecutively to win a national title. Even to get to the playoffs, they got to battle so hard to get to the playoffs. Georgia Tech's route is a little bit slightly easier. So they will have the chance to win a national title with this coach and with this kind of recruiting that they have in place now, that they're going after the top players. Because you got to remember, Coach Johnson did not go after the same players that a University of Georgia or Notre Dame or anybody like that went after. So now Georgia Tech understands, this coach understands the college football business side, and he's going after the big dogs. So that's why Georgia Tech will most definitely have a chance to win a national championship before Georgia. Because let's look at this year alone. Georgia doesn't even have a quarterback. So they can struggle mightily this season. So, hey, let's see what what happens, but my money is on Georgia Tech winning a national championship before Georgia does. And let me say two words that's in any kind of business. One program could very well be on the upswing, and another program could very well be on the downswing. I'll leave it there, Minister.
That's some shots right there. And can I tell you something? Listen, now we shared something to the University of Georgia page. All them guys done logged off. All the guys from Georgia Nation. Matter of fact, they might have blocked me from the page. They all off now. That's it. They're like, hey, man,
it'll be all right. They love you, Minister. They love you.
All right. Well, speaking of love, let's go ahead and shift gears now to NFL. All right. Mr. Football shaking his head already before I even start talking NFL. What do you guys think about first of all, what do you guys think about the first week overall? Mr. Football, what was your opinion about the first week of the NFL being back? What do you think? What did you like and what did you not like?
Based on the situation and seeing fans not being in the stands and not having the preseason, I thought overall the play was good throughout the National Football League this past Sunday. Won a lot of penalties, seemed like the teams were in sync from an offense and defensive standpoint, and I was surprised. Now, of course, the biggest surprise to me, I thought Tom Brady would play better being on the center for Tampa Bay. And that took me back a little bit. Him being a 6-time Super Bowl champion, I didn't think he would struggle as mightily being the first game with the Buccaneers.
Well, good news for Buck fans. Good news. The good news is that Tom Brady is now on a pace to match Jameis Winston's 30 interceptions for the year. Isn't that great?
that was a low blow right there.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was a shot. I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, Tom Brady looked out of sync. The whole Tampa Bay team looked out of sync. I mean, that's the worst I've seen Brady in a long – that's really the worst I've seen him since them Super Bowls against the Giants. He just looked like that there was just no disconnection. I got to tell you something. The funny thing about it, if you watch the press conference, Bruce Arians, he wasn't trying to show Tom no love. He was like, hey, there were mistakes made. He had that same look like Tom, like a rookie cat. He had no sympathy, no nothing. So it's going to be an interesting ride. Again, it's only one game. So let's not be naive to think that Tom Brady's going to look like that week in and week out. But there's no question. I'm like Mr. Football. I would expect to see no ball being airmail. And definitely, I would expect no pick six now. You know, because that's usually a bad sign. When quarterbacks don't have pick six,
but I thought one thing I'm going to say this. I thought Tampa Bay defense played overall real well.
Oh, yeah, their defense is stout.
The strong safety, Antonio Winfield Jr., rookie out of Minnesota, I thought played very well. Devin White played very well. Even Mr. Sue on the D-line played very well. It was just the fact that you had 2 turnovers in that game that really was the difference in that Tampa Bay-New Orleans game.
Right. And New Orleans got kind of snarky toward the end. They look like they're trying to put some more points up on Tom and the boys. I mean, trying to throw them a little something. Yeah, this is going to be interesting in the NFC South, man. It's going to be – You know the Falcons don't like Brady because, well, you know why. Somebody, nobody beating their kids back down there. I hear somebody hollering. Was everybody all right?
I got a whole bunch of kids. That's
you got a crew? You want to bring them on? You want to bring them on the air? We can have the kids come on too. We'll bring them on. They might have something to say. They sound fired up. Hey, I got to tease you because.
All that homeschooling, you know, they just trying to get loose because they've been tied down all day.
They've been tied down. I was thinking to see someone run by the camera, but you got the camera angle so I can't see them. I thought they were going to run by, Daddy. But you kept them. Listen, man, everybody, here's what I'll say. Now, this has been, the kids and background noise, that's been the biggest thing of all these Zoom broadcasts because you really don't know who you're going to see. Now, Mr. Football, he's like me. His kids grown. They're not there. So it's like, all right, he got it cropped right back there. So if anybody going to run behind him, they're going to have to basically knock him over. You know what I mean? So he done it the right way. Like, hey, no, y'all not getting in this picture right here. But it's all good, though, man, because at the end of the day, man, without family, where would any of us be? Seriously. I mean, I don't care whether your family, we all have, nobody's family is perfect, but God has all blessed us as men to have family members that for the most part support us. Certainly, I want to give a big shout out to the parents of Mr. Turner. We have, over the years, they had a couple of health issues, but we thank God that the Lord brought them through that. And, it's just a blessing, and that's why he's the man who he is, because of Inez and Chester Turner. You know what I mean? They made sure that he was straight. But I mean, at the end of the day, I tell people that's why you can reach your 60s safely and without incident. It's because your parents beat you down when you was 12 and 15, 16. Sometimes when you was 20 something, you might have got something. But at the end of the day, it's all worked out for us to, be here where we are. So we thank God for everyone's parents, whether they're here with us or going on with the Lord like mine has. Hey, without them, man, we wouldn't be right.
Amen.
So we're excited about that. Now, speaking of championships and titles, I'm gonna pop this little question on the screen. The question is: has the Falcons' windows for a Super Bowl win with this configuration, has that window closed?
Yes.
What do you think, gentlemen? Had that window closed? With the current configuration of the Falcons, we have our wonderful man Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, and the crew, Dan Quinn. Do you think the ship has sailed on the Falcons?
Yes. Minister, I watching some of the game. I couldn't watch all of the game. I was at my oldest daughter's soccer match on Sunday, so I couldn't watch the full game, but I saw bits and pieces when we're getting something to eat. And I just be honest with you, man, they did not look like a powerful team. And I don't want to, like we talked about before, it's only one game, so of course they have 15 more games to get it together. But when you start looking at the ages of our two superstars in Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, and this I don't understand this. Julio can catch 150 yards worth of balls and can't get in the end zone. I don't understand that philosophy of a team that uses him like that, because when he scores, it makes a difference. But when he doesn't score, then we feel the loss. And so I would like to see an offense that tries to get him in scoring position more so than just 20 to 20, and he's eating up a lot of yards, but we're not making any impactful touchdown plays that'll help the morale and the oomph of the team. But to answer your question specifically, yes, the window is closed. It doesn't look like our defense is strong enough. And I'm going to just go ahead and say it. Coach Quinn should have been fired last season, no matter what they did in San Francisco or anything. He should have been gone and got a new coach in here, and we should have been rocking and rolling in a new way. And so I do believe our window is closed, man. And you putting and the wrong players on the field. You got Isaiah Oliver out there playing corner. The dude cannot cover in the NFL. So
Wow.
It's too many players that we have on the field that are not ready to be on the field. And Isaiah Oliver is one of the big bright spots that stand out to me, that not ready. And then we have an older superstars. Hey man, yeah, the window is closed, in my opinion.
Well, of course, as soon as we mentioned that, we immediately got a response on Facebook. We're going to pop it up here. H.C. Hardy says Dirk Cutter will be the scapegoat this year. Listen, it's not so much being a scapegoat. The guy, okay, if you look at, it's the same problem he had the last time we was here. The guy is not really an efficient play caller. He's very predictable. Mm-hmm. You know, that's the one thing that the Falcons got when they had Shanahan, especially that second year. What they got is a guy that had an innovative style of offense. He forced the Falcons to utilize their players in a way they could be most successful. Even Matt Ryan, a guy that you could tell that first year didn't want no part of those stretch runs, didn't want no part of naked bootlegs. But at the end of the day, what that did was it allowed him to, first of all, it took a lot of pressure off the offensive line because they didn't have to hold the blocks when he was back there kind of piddling around and couldn't move. And number two, it put the players in spots where they could make big plays. And this is the one thing that you don't see with Dirk Cutter. And then the other question we got to really ask, and I've been a big Matt Ryan fan. I've tried not to throw off on the guy. I like the guy personally. He's always answered my questions, press conferences, other events. He never ducked me. So I like the guy. I mean, you know, because really it's not like we ESPN, okay? But now the other question is, should the Falcons move on from Matt Ryan, from Coach Quinn, and Dirk Cutter? If they can't forget 500, if they can't get to the playoffs, should they move on from these guys? Mr. Football, you first.
Wow, y'all have had some real powerful comments here in the last few seconds, and it's really amazing me how y'all really looking at this football thing. To me, the Falcons got a top 5 offense. It's nothing wrong with their offense. Matt Ryan threw for 400-some yards last week. They had 3 receivers go over 100 yards. To me personally, offensive line played pretty well. They had 2 plays that cost them on 4th down, the fake punt. That was a bang-bang play. The guy made a first down, but he fumbled. Then they had some miscommunication when they didn't make a 4th down try down at the goal line. So basically, you take them 2 plays away, they probably put some points on the board. To me, with the Falcons, for them to be a next team that can move to that next level is the defensive side of the ball. Barry is right. They got some problems in their secondary. Isaiah Oliver was a corner coming out of Colorado. So for some reason, he hasn't been coached up. Then you look at A.J. Terrell. He struggled a little bit on Sunday. Ricardo Allen struggled. But to me personally, if they're able to get their defense together, then I think the Falcons have a good chance of having a successful season. But if they don't be consistent rushing the passer, and we all know this, on the defensive side, if your team cannot generate pressure, then I don't care who you are. Against some of these teams, especially Russell Wilson, who's considered one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the game, nobody's going to beat him like that. But what I see on Sunday coming up against the Dallas Cowboys, it's only one game. Both teams come in 0-1. It's a must-win game for both teams. But even if the Falcons don't beat Dallas, they got Chicago coming in the next week, and I think they can beat Chicago. Then you're looking at the division. Carolina doesn't scare me. They lost to the Raiders last weekend. We saw what Tampa Bay did, and we saw what New Orleans done. As far as Dan Quinn, I know the understanding, everybody wants him fired. I get that he probably need to be fired last year, but I like him personally.
Me too.
The coach got the Falcons to the Super Bowl. Look on the resume. How many coaches in the league even got their teams to the Super Bowl? I think where he made his mistake was he put a lot of trust in the first-round draft pick by the name of Vic Beasley. That didn't work out, and it seemed like it's had a trickle-down effect throughout the defense over the last few years. But when you look at it, it's only one game. So everybody like Barry and Falcon Nation jumps off the board and want to blame everybody here and there, say he should be fired. But when I look at the Atlanta Falcons, what are y'all history? Do y'all have any Super Bowls? When I got to this city, y'all didn't even have back-to-back winning season in 30-some years. So pump your brakes, Falcon fans. You need to be appreciative of some of the coaches that came through here. That's what amazed me about Falcons Nation. But like I said, it's only one game from last Sunday. You lost to a pretty good team in Seattle who arguably got the best quarterback in the game in Russell Wilson. To me, the Falcons, if they're going to move forward, it's all about their defense. But their offense, I don't see where they have no problems. They didn't run Todd Gurley in the second half this Sunday, but they had a lot of success with him in the first half. But I understand that they got behind, maybe Dirk Curter got a little happy in play calling, throwing the football. But they're going to go out there and be able to put points on people. And they're going to be able to score on people. To me, for them, as Barry said, and as you, Minister, without Dan Quinn getting fired, it's whether or not their defense can play better. But let's hold the horses a little bit here. Let's don't talk too quick because it's only one game. And for all you Falcon fans, let's go to you, Mr. A.C. Hardy. When I got here 20-some years ago, back in 96, your franchise didn't even have back-to-back winning seasons. So let's pump the brakes a little bit. It's only one game. Let's see what they do next Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, speaking of Mr. Hardy, here's his comments. He said, when you're going against Russell Wilson, who was one of the highest percentage throwing quarterbacks in the league of the deep ball, you have to be prepared for that, and the Falcons secondary was not. Let's put it to you this way. Russell Wilson is one of the most underrated players in the league, period. I mean, they constantly talk about top 5 quarterbacks. Mysteriously, his name doesn't hit the list all the time, but the realities are this guy has proven himself to be a top-tier quarterback. You remember the 2-year run that they had when Seattle went to back-to-back Super Bowls? If you remember, that guy beat every one of the Super Bowl winning quarterbacks for the previous 5 years, every single one. And had it not been for a coach in a stupor, okay, in Super Bowl number 2, we wouldn't be talking so much about Tom Brady. We'd be talking about Russell Wilson and Seattle being one of the great franchises from 2010 on. So, yeah, we get it. We know that he's an outstanding player, but that was a winnable game yesterday. That was a winnable game. You can't throw away winnable games in the NFL. They did not execute, and that has been the biggest drawback and the biggest flaw of this Falcons team.
Execute? I mean, what do you mean by execute? I mean,
what you just said. What you just said. You got a fourth down play with a guy.
Plays.
Okay.
I understand that.
Right, never mind. All right.
No, but go ahead. But like I said, every team in the National Football League made mistakes this past weekend. Should we put the Falcons in the same category as the Carolina Panthers that could have beat the Raiders this past Sunday? Should we put the Falcons in the same category as the Cowboys? It was bang, bang plays. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Go ahead.
Minister.
Go ahead.
There's a great quote about out of one of the greatest football movies of all time called Any Given Sunday. And it's all about inches. Mr. Football, inches. Plays are decided by inches. And what you have with the Falcons right now, and I'm an Atlanta native. I love the Falcons. I rock with the Falcons all day and night. And I'm like you said at the beginning of the show, you're a realist, right? Hey, we have to look in the mirror right now and just say we're not that good. So to answer your question, yes, we in the same place as the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, we in the same place as the Carolina Panthers. We've been 7-9 the last 2 seasons. That tells you all you need to know. We are who we are. To quote the great Dennis Green, I came into this season with no expectations for the Falcons because, hey, I believe we are who we thought they were. That's it. I mean, that's it. And if we believe Dan Quinn has the ability to bring this team back to a Super Bowl, then that's just bad thinking, man. He showed us who he is, and he makes bad decisions every single Sunday. We talk about clock management. We talk about decision making. It's the same stuff we talk to kids about. And when we see it live in action, hey, we have to call a spade a spade. It's time for him to go, brother. And let's start off with another coach, and let's start something else here in Atlanta, and let's start getting younger with some younger players, and let's get some better players on this defensive side of the ball, because it doesn't matter how many points we score on offense if we can't stop anybody. I'm a defensive guy. If you can't stop anybody, it doesn't matter what you do on offense. It's going to be a wrap. That was my 2 cents, Minister.
Well, we want to give a big shout out to, before we did that, we're going to go back to social media. Big shout out to Cammy 000. Actually, there's more zeros than that, but I always call it Cammy 000 out of South Carolina. One of our biggest watchers on Periscope. She has shared our broadcast all kinds of places. Our numbers have been off the chain of Periscope thanks to her. So, Cammy, it's been a minute. We appreciate you. Welcome back. Gives you LOL and a big wave. And we're going back to social media again. H.C. Hardy throwing the leather now. He says, as it says in the Bible, dang, he getting spiritual. He said, let not thyself be troubled, and shall prove by acquiring Jamal Adams. Man, he went in the Bible on us, doggone it. He said, man, Minister, I'm going to talk to you how you can understand. I'm going to get some scripture on you. Well, look, I mean, at the end of the day, let's put it like this. Let's boil back the onion a little bit. So if you look at Seattle versus the Falcons, what did Seattle have that the Falcons didn't have? Well, the Seattle had playmakers, guys that were what did Dimitrov say last year? What was the big buzzword for the coaches at the combine? Game wreckers. Okay, Seattle had game wreckers. The Falcons had pretend wreckers. Okay, we saw Jamal Adams wreak havoc on the Falcons. The guy looked like Troy Polamalu reincorporated. He was unblockable. And some of the time it was stuff where you just said somebody's not paying attention, because there were several times he came off the edge unblocked. Nobody touched him. Russell Wilson's a game wrecker. The Falcons sacked him, I think, 3 times in the first quarter and a half, and he still came back to make plays with his feet. He scrambled. He ran for yards. He ran around and made throws on the run. Those are game wreckers. The Falcons, they don't really have that. They really don't. On defense, they definitely don't. On offense, Julio Jones, I mean, to me, if he had a different quarterback, no insult to Matt, he probably would be considered far and above the greatest wide receiver ever, because I believe he would have been the first receiver to get to 2,000 yards. if he had a different quarterback that could get him the ball. Like if you look at yesterday, he had a sure touchdown, but he had to slow down because Matt had to wind up. I'll get out to the Julio. Hold on. And he had to, if you remember, he double clutched to get some more juice and then threw it. By that time, Julio had to slow down. Am I right? Was y'all watching the same game as me or no? See, Barry laughing.
But he showed that 2 years ago. That's what I'm saying. The arm strength been gone for the last. After he won the MVP, he had the great MVP season 2016. By 2018, he showed what you just showed. I remember being at the game, Minister. I remember being at the game. I can't. You know what? It might have been against Seattle too.
We don't mess with football up, bro. He don't. I mean, I can.
He did the same thing. But hey, I'm a Matt Ryan fan. I've been watching. You know, I'm a big ACC guy. Saw him at Boston College. Love the pick. He's the best, the greatest quarterback in
Atlanta history. No question about that. We don't want to take anything away from that.
You know, but hey, man, the window is closed, Minister. If you can't throw the ball past 40 yards as a starting quarterback in the NFL, he has to hit Julio at between 30 and 40 yards. That's the only chance we got.
Now, hold on, Barry. Now he threw a little farther than 40 yards, bro. Come on, don't hit him like that, man. Golly, man. I mean, if you let me practice for about 6 weeks, I might could get out there 40 yards. Now, come on, now. Maybe not.
Minister, you can't throw that ball 40 yards. I'm telling you right now.
Okay, we don't mess with the football up. I have you know, I can see him on the bottom of the screen. He's done rubbed his head about 5 or 6 times. He done got some newspaper. He's clasping his hands, trying not to say nothing. He got his hand over his mouth. Okay, we have to let Mr. Football kind of take the. Hold on a second. Let me see if we got some more comments on social media because things are just hitting the fan here. All right, Mr. Football, go ahead. The floor is yours, sir. Go ahead. I know you've been wanting to say something.
Comments on social media right now?
No, we got the last one. Just my girl Cammie right here. She's just rolling at our, going back and forth. So go ahead, sir.
Somebody told me, I mean, some of the comments you can't really respond there to because I go look at this. Last year, Matt Ryan threw for 4,500 yards and 26 touchdowns. This year, first game, he throws for over 400 yards. 3 receivers going over 100 yards. Julio Jones put up 157. Doesn't matter really, does he get in the end zone or not? Because Kevin Ridley had 2 touchdowns. But like I said, I'm not going to respond to some of them comments because you know why? At the end of the day, y'all can go on and fire Falcon Nation. You can fire Dan Quinn. You can go on and start over with Matt Ryan. So that means you got to take a step back. You probably need to fire the GM Thomas Dimitroff. So my thing is, who you gonna bring in, as we say, clean your mess up when you're a 7-9 football team. So when you do all that, you better believe it's gonna be a tremendous transaction. You're gonna go from 7-9 and 4-12. Oh, it doesn't matter if we don't win. Okay, now it's nothing I can say to that. At the end of the day, I'm always looking at this. When you have the Falcons offense, to me right now, it's one of the top 10. And both of you gentlemen to be criticizing their offense, you Minister, this your show, and Barry Brown over a couple of plays from last Sunday, it really boggles my mind. Because if you looked at the whole NFL, it was a lot of offenses didn't even have the success the Falcons done this past Sunday. But with your audience and with everything going on, yes, stats don't mean anything. If you don't win, you're totally correct. But let me tell you this. You blasting a 7-9 football team, that could turn quick to a 3-13 team. And then 2 years from now, I'm going to see what you're going to say, Barry, because I'm still going to be in your life and we're going to still be talking football. And I know you a Minister, you cover the Falcons. Then I want you to tell me what you're going to say then. Go on and blast Matt Ryan. He can't go over 40 yards. Go on blast. No. Blast, they don't have an offense. Blast all this. Yeah, they don't win, but it's a lot of teams didn't win last Sunday, such as the Dallas Cowboys. What you think about they saying about Dak Prescott right now in Dallas? What you think about they saying about Tampa Bay and Tom Brady? People jumping off the bandwagons quick, but that's one thing. It's like this. Kevin LeVar, your destiny. It's only one game. So
I like that song.
Let's quiet down a little bit here. But what I'm hearing is unbelievable. And to you, Mr. Hardy, you don't need to be coming because you've been wrong on a lot of things. You really have. Stop it, Cornell. You've been really wrong on a lot of things, bro.
Well,
you got Jalen Hurts. Come on, man. Give me a break. You saw what Jalen Hurts didn't even get off the bench against Philadelphia, against Washington this weekend, and Washington beat Philly 27-17.
Well, I think what Mr. Hardy is trying to say by that is that, in fact, it's just like what we saw in New Orleans. Okay, Drew Brees had a decent game, but in fact, they brought out their quote-unquote, you want to call him gadget player, jack of all trades player, whatever you want to call him. But the bottom line, they bring in a guy that can play the quarterback position, who's mobile and gives you other options. See, the Falcons right now, okay, you don't even have an option on the bench. I mean, you go from Matt Ryan to Matt Schaub. I mean, so you can't even change the flow of the game at all. You bring Schaub in, Schaub actually is more the same. So
John,
go ahead.
What are you? I can't understand what you and Barry, what I'm really in Falcon Nation, what I'm having a problem with tonight on your show. Why y'all complaining when y'all had a quarterback that threw over 400 yards this week? 3 receivers went over 100 yards. There was 2 bang plays. I give you that if you want to question the coaching, but if them 2 plays turn around, which happens in this league, we might be talking about a Falcons victory, even though y'all defense played poorly. I don't understand that. Then Todd Gurley in the first half had 57 yards. Then y'all offensive line played well. Then y'all have a young secondary. You got a rookie that's starting at A.J. Terrell. You got another guy, Isaiah Oliver, still learning the position. He had to go through a transition and switching coordinators. So I would give up anything if Dak Prescott would have threw for 400 yards on Sunday night against the Rams. I'm a Cowboys fan, but I just don't understand. I'm hearing y'all want to get rid of Matt.
Now here's the thing about 450 yards. Okay,
I don't understand.
Listen, I'm not. We got. Lord have mercy. We done ran over the time. Look at that. Okay, well, we gonna get ready to wrap it up. I'm not trying to take. I like Matt Ryan. Matt, if you're watching me, you know I like you, bro. You, like you said, you've been a guy that's always spoken to me. You didn't care. Hey, guys, small media. We make jokes. I made a few jokes in the press conference. Posty talked about his suit. You know, I talked about your gear. You know, so I like the guy, but it's like I'm serious. I mean, I'm gonna start getting some clips of me doing some of the post game, and me and Matt have a good time. I remember one time I said to him, I said, "Hey, Matt, nice suit," and he stopped the whole press conference. He said, "You said it again, please." He said, "Not that I'm fishing for compliments, but say it one more time." I said, "Nice suit." He said, "Okay, go ahead." So I'm saying I liked it. I mean, we get along. I'm not mad at the guy, but I'm saying at the end of the day, it's like I told him. Every now and then he has to run the ball. When Matt Ryan runs the ball, the reaction from his teammates, from the fans, is electric. Because what they say is, okay, our guy gets it. He's going to do something, gets a first down. Something. There was talk about a big play. I think it was 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. The seas parted. He could have walked for a first down. Instead, he decided to try to force the ball. It's almost intercepted. And once again, another Falcons drive was thwarted. I'm just saying, man, I mean, I'm not looking for the guy to run. I'm not saying you necessarily have to get a running quarterback in tomorrow, but at some point, you can't win the way the Falcons are going about their business. All right, let's go back to social media here. Mr. Hardy, I done got him all fired up. He said bring Cam home. Now, here's the thing. If they had brought Cam Newton, it would just have created too much in the locker room. See, that's the only problem. If you bring a guy like Cam in, Cam is a big personality. He would have been extremely popular in Atlanta, and it might have disrupted the flow of the team. So I don't know. I mean, I think he's going to do a good job in New England. Let's go with some more comments. Mr. Hardy's on fire out there. He said, let's check the runs after catch. Yep.
That's right.
He said Julio 5-yard pass and he runs for 60. So basically making fun of Matt. He said basically Matt gets his yardage from short throws to Julio, and then Julio breaks some tackles. I mean, I'm not going to take those kind of shots. What I'm going to say is that, look, the Falcons have to do better because it's like Julio himself said, the team is good enough to be got a little technical difficulties here. I guess maybe some kind of Falcon got loose and messed with my wiring. I'm not sure. But anyway, look, gentlemen, before we wrap up, I'm going to go yes. Yeah, something ain't right because I was saying everything clicking and going off, so I don't know what's going on. But anyway, let's go around the room here so everybody can sign off. Tell people again how they can find out more about you and social media. First, Barry Brown, the floor is yours, sir.
Well, hey, God bless the Atlanta Falcons, man. I'm a Falcons fan, so hey, go. I still yell out the Dirty Birds. So hey, go Dirty Birds, man. Hopefully we can improve off of week 1 and keep on rolling. But hey, I don't play fantasy football. So I don't care. I rather you throw for 250 yards and we get the victory. How about that? Hey, I'm Barry Brown, author of the Student Athlete Playbook, one of the members of Youth Education and Sports, out here to change the next generation and to help them develop and to grow and to become the great people they're destined to be. Hey, thank you, Minister, for allowing us to be on the show. Visit youtheducationandsports.org. Uh-oh, we still there, Minister?
We lost him.
We lost the Minister? Oh, man.
The Minister.
Uh-oh. Well, hope y'all enjoyed the show. But, hey, Mr. Football.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? You can hear me, Mr. Football?
I can hear you good, baby. Loud and clear. Remember this name while you talking about they ain't got no quarterback. Again, you wrong. J.T. Daniels.
What's his name?
Well, what you need to do, you need to do your research.
What's his name? Who?
J.T. Daniels. Remember that.
Oh, yeah, J.T. Daniels, the transfer from USC.
Yeah.
Right, USC, right. Yep.
USC.
Why are you bringing him up? You think he going to do something?
Against
let me go social media one more time. Hold up, guys. Let me go social media for a few more comments here. H.C. Hardy, again, blowing up the lines, talking about running the ball. Still talking about Wilson. And again, I gave one more big shout out to my good buddy Cammy from South Carolina, giving us a good night. Thank you so much, and I appreciate her. Cammy is like so many people here, gets up early, so I appreciate her for watching our show and for sharing our show with all of her friends on social media as well. Appreciate you and all the good stuff you do. All right, guys, we could be up here all night talking about the Falcons and what they should do if they fire Coach Quinn. I don't want to see nobody fired. I like everybody. I mean, I don't want to see anybody get fired. I mean, who wants to see that? So, see, Mr. Hardy had to get one more comment in there. They said, there you go. Like my daughter, boy, bye. There we go. Okay.
Cornell.
Had to get one more in. Get one more in.
Mr.
But listen,
Hardy.
at the end of the day, the Falcons, I guess the frustration is you see how good this team could be. Because what we saw in the first quarter and a half is a team that you see could be a contender. Because first of all, regardless of how bad their secondary got beat later on, the defense looked faster. They looked more energetic. And certainly, I don't know what, I guess Tack, because it's his contract year, he's playing the way we thought he would play when we first got him out of UCLA. I don't know whether it's hooking up with Fowler has helped him, but that team defensively, the biggest problem was they remind me of the old Vikings from the 70s. They were over pursuing. I mean, that's if you look at most of the big plays that Seattle had, it was because Atlanta over pursued the play and got caught in crackback blocks and counter plays. So I was very, very pleased with the energy and the speed. But that's it. Okay, Mr. Hardy going offline here for a second, talking about he's a DNK suit man. Well, look here, man. I ain't gonna let you put on here no more. You getting a check from DNK? If you ain't getting no check, then come on here like this. Now, all you gonna get me a suit.
Hey,
you can't be promoting anybody on here like that. That's it. That's the last. Oh, he's at DNK for real?
Yeah, no, at Morrow. He's right around the corner from.
Oh, hold up. Now, I got to get the big screen on myself for a second.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Brother, we are looking for sponsors.
You need to holler at him.
And the minister can get suited and booted with the best of them. I will profile your whole situation. Every suit, tie, I will be on here in the lockdown living room, clean as a whistle.
That's right.
For a free suit, a man will do about anything for a free suit. I'm just saying. Let me get right. Okay, let me stop playing. All right.
But seriously, Minister, holler at him for real. I'll get you his number tomorrow. Just make sure you hit me up.
But we actually are looking for sponsors, guys. One of the things that we want to do is not just for ourselves personally, but we do want to do more support of high schools. We want to be able to give them more money. We actually have to cut back on the amount we gave them this year because they added equipment that we need for video. But we have not a player a game that we do now. We want to give them some kind of gift certificate, and we would like to at some point try to do something for a player of the month or even player of the year for Clayton County. We could give them a suit or shirt and tie combination that they could use as they go further on. So certainly, Brother Hardy shout me out. But anybody watching this, please, man, please, sir, help us support, help us do more in Clayton County. Let me go and pop my information up here on the screen right quick. You can hit me up directly. Okay, 678-410-9833. Don't be scared. We'll take all types of money. I take Cash App, PayPal, checks, all those kind of things. We take them all. We don't care. But I mean, on a serious thing, we do want to give more to the kids and be able to give them something to reward them for, like I said, player of the game, defensive player of the game, and hopefully at some point player of the month and player of the year. So if you're a business, we'll be more than happy to shout you out. We'll put your logo up in the right-hand corner like we do for Mr. Allen Vigil. You see his logo's right up there in the corner. That could be y'all. My finger is going the wrong way. There we go. That could be you guys right there. Or you can have the ticker. We have a ticker that runs underneath. I'll show you guys that right now. We run this during the game. During the game, that could be your message. Allen Vigil Ford presents our high school football telecast. So we could use you. All right, guys. We appreciate all those of you who have tuned into us tonight. Barry Brown, we appreciate you. Mr. Football, tell people how they can find out more about you and watch your program, because you do you on a couple of times a week. So let people know what's going on with 100 Yards of Football.
Well, first and foremost, it's a pleasure to come on Real Talk Sports tonight. Fantastic show. Jonathan, you got a great platform. It was great seeing Barry Brown, the student athlete. A pleasure being in with Mr. Emery Williams. We come on every Monday and Wednesday on 100 Yards Football on Sports Talk Radio. We do 5 videos a week on each day. We cover high school football. We cover college and pro. And we have fun. And I would say this. 100 Yards Football has had some great success over the last few months. And I like to just say thank you to my team here on Real Talk Sports, the team of 100 Yards Football, our producer, Jeremiah Daniel Long. Couldn't be more blessed with him. Our intern who's graduated to a host in Logan Landers. To my man who handles the basketball segment, Mr. Brian Spencer, head basketball coach at Carver Bible College. The man, defensive coordinator at North Atlanta, Mr. Kevin the Bull Jones, and of course, the 12-year veteran, two-time All-American at Florida State, Mr. Bobby Butler, and family, the guy who kept me going over 10 hard, long years in doing this business out of Brooklyn, New York. My man, my brother in crime, who I got a lot of love for, Mr. Ronnie Keeble. And we are 100 Yards Football, and we thank you here at Real Talk Sports and Mr. Jonathan Simmons for allowing me to come on your great platform tonight. And blessings to Barry Brown, blessings to Coach Emery Williams. Brothers, success is waiting for y'all on the horizon. And that being said, it's all about football time in the state of Georgia. Pig Suey, the 901, my hometown, Memphis, Tennessee. Much love. And to your fans out there, Real Talk Sports. It's been a pleasure tonight.
Well, listen, like I said, I appreciate every one of you guys, because I know you all have busy schedules. Mr. Football, obviously preparing for your own show, so we appreciate you, and we thank you for joining us and coming on the broadcast. It's a lot of fun for us. It's work, but it's a lot of fun to be able to come on, because I've had so many great guests like you guys have come on and given people. One thing our show is committed to do is to give you the positive side of sports. There's a lot of negative stuff that goes on out there, but we're fed up with it. We want to give you the good news of sports. Sports, that's our tagline, sports from a different perspective. And we're going to continue to do that, bringing on guests like Mr. Football, like Barry, and Coach Emery Willis as well. Well, guys, again, we appreciate you. Appreciate all you've done. I want to let everybody know now, remember, we are the official Friday Night Lights video provider for Tara Stadium. So please, guys, tune in. We will be back on the air Monday night. It will be Mount Zion versus Morrow High School. Morrow High School coming off a big win, 36-21 over Forest Park. Mount Zion trying to get their sea legs back under them. They got a guy that was a outstanding linebacker under Coach Bobby Bowden in the 90s. Florida State Coach Davis is now with them. And so we hope that he'll be able to bring that program around and bring them back. Look, guys, follow me on social media personally at Minister J Sim, or you can follow the show at Real Talk Sports 7. Please do that. And we'd love to have you there. Mr. Football, any more words there, kind sir?
Yeah, one more thing before I leave. I forgot to give a shout out to one more individual who's been like a brother and mentor to me over the last few months, who's made great strides in my life. The young man from Lufkin, Texas, by way of Sam Houston State. The greatest voice in the entertainment business, Mr. Mark Bass. Much love to him. I can't forget about him. Great
He's
voice.
a bad man. Matter of fact, when you tune into Real Talk Sports on the radio, that's what you hear. You hear his deep melodic voice telling you why Real Talk Sports is one of the best programs out there. All right, guys, like I say again, we appreciate all those of you who have joined us here tonight. Everybody that is watching, you know, the minister, I told you I'm a real one, so I can't let you go off the air without letting you ask you this question. Do you know the Lord as your personal Savior? That's right. Do you know Jesus Christ as your personal Savior? You don't? I tell you, please, man, please circle the dome today. Why? Because nobody loves you like Jesus, not your mom, not your grandma, not your auntie and them, not your bae, not your boo. Nobody loves you like him. Why? Because he made you and he died for you. And the Lord rose him from the dead so all your sins can be forgiven. So all you have to do is a couple of things. Repent of your sins. Just tell God you've been doing it wrong. You're sorry. Believe that Jesus Christ died for you and go tell somebody and bam, you will be saved. And you get a chance to go to the happy place when you leave here and not that bad place. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You already know. All right, everybody, listen again. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, 7:30 p.m. start time right here on Real Talk Sports. It is the high school football game of the week from Terra Stadium, Mount Zion Bulldogs versus the Morrow Mustangs. Until then, take care and God bless. Matter of fact, you know what, guys? I'm going to try to share this screen here. Let's see if we can get you a little peek of the highlights from Forest Park and Morrow last week. Hopefully everything works this time. We're going to give it a try. Here we go. A little bit from Morrow High School against Forest Park. We had a cameraman out on the field, and he got some great shots, as you can see. Want to give a big shout out to my cameraman, Jason Huttinger. And every week, guys, you're going to be getting some highlights after we do the live game within a couple of days. And you can see everybody was pretty pumped up. Those are the guys from the Morrow Mustangs in the green and Forest Park in the burgundy and white. And you can see very little social distancing out there, too. I'm just saying. But as you can see, guys, football is back. And hopefully you guys will be able to continue to join us here as we broadcast to you on the Real Talk Football. All right, guys, until next time, God bless you and have a great night. So long, guys.